In the bottom left-hand side, our red Terran player. Start off this best of 3 quarterfinal. This is going to be Pure. Top right, our blue Zergy is Reynor. In one of the best of 3 series quarterfinals, ESL Open Cup Korea 231. Let's see what the guys are going to get up to. Hatch pool, double racks low ground from Pure. Reynor going no gas would be very good if he is, third racks. So, Reynor going to play gasless, it seems. Gasless is a pretty huge deal because gasless is going to mean a lot of queens, and typically would have been one of the better ways to deal with a Reaper player. He's actually going to add a gas in the end, though, just a later gas. So a little bit of a difference there. Let's have ourselves a couple queens coming about. Obviously, with 3 racks Reaper, it's going to be very aggressive. So you have the Reaper coming over, and it's going to be putting some damage out. A couple of drones taking some shots. Spine crawl coming up, a couple more lings on the way. Grenades will go down as you bop these queens around a little further. We just have ourselves a few lings, our ling speed, one coming through. The Reapers continue to come out. The ling's still hanging out on that high ground. A couple queens making their way over as well. Reapers get to the high ground too. Let's move over. A little grenade goes down. Queen gonna get bobbed. Lings will be taking some damage. Reapers continue to put some damage out. Actually taking some shots as well. We pull back with the queen. Ling speed still building. Reaper's still on the way. And a few more lings coming up as well. Ling's still taking shots, so you're going to have the queens taking damage again. Grenade going down once more. We hop down to the low ground. One Reaper died. So Reaper goes down during this. That's a little bit unfortunate. So far, decent defense, though. Again, the Queen's putting themselves in good positions. The Ling's there to make sure the Reapers can't dive too deep. Spine Crawl, I think, is a great addition as well, because the Spine really denies the entry into the natural. Then you only really have to protect the main base. Beyond that, the third base is safe because of the layout of this map. And Reynor taking that run down the right-hand side. So, yeah, I think the way that Reynor approaches this defense is very smart and very well thought out. It definitely has heavily denied the Reaper play without having, you know, an overly crazy amount of investment necessary. So, it's cool to see. Slowly subbing for Ali on the 71-month resub. Thank you so much. There's a couple queens coming down, and we will have that hatchery continue to come about as well. Factory building up the reactor, starport coming through. Evo Chamber will drop down as we're playing the road drone into Evo Chamber. Lag coming up as well. All of that coming in. And get our queens and our drones continue to produce. Overlords popping out as well as our starport will be finishing. Reactor now finishing on the factory as well. Gonna play a little swappy doodle there as the starport moves across. The Marines and the Reapers will continue back out to the center. Again, the Marines and the Reapers continue up. The lag coming through. Roaches and the Carapace upgrade continue through. Combat shield building with the Medivacs on the way. And these Marines going to get underneath and pick off that Overlord. So Overlord will go down now, and Overlord in the upper left going to get chased away as well. Also going to get picked off. Good kills from Q, just coming over. 2 Overlords dead. Reynor just now meeting that supply block because of it. He's got 4 OVs on the way, but I can't imagine all of those at once, so they're going to be spread out a little bit. But he should be able to keep on spending his money at a reasonable pace at least. Approach speed, +1 Carapace coming about. Our creep team is still coming in. Medivacs load up a group of Marines as well. And we do have here just dropping across over to that right-hand side. A few Reapers still positioned and poised up to the top. Sim forward, a couple of those creep teamers go down once more. We do see the Roaches trying to fight back, but the Marines are going to turn on said Roaches. Taking away those, and a bunch of these Roaches taking a lot of damage. Our Queens continue through, the Roaches coming over. Medivacs will load up once again, and they will just relocate elsewhere, going back over to the center of the map, where we're going to have a hatchery under target. We are going to get rid of an Overlord. I like what Q is doing with a lot of his movement in this game, a lot of the drops and so on, picking off those Overlords previously. This drop seems good. A lot of cool plays, but obviously Reynor is playing a fairly defensive Roach style. Like, he's not looking to be super aggro with these Roaches. And so, as he continues into the infestation bit, there's bigger problems abound for Q. I guess my question is, for Reynor, is, are you okay with this? Because you're actually taking a fair amount of damage for having set up defensively and not looking to do any damage yourself, right? So then I actually do maybe got myself a little bit concerned. Medivacs pull back over in this direction. Gonna go and dive in toward the main base. Another medevac up through the center, and Lings are immediately in position. Game sound's really low. I can up it a little bit. I generally don't like the game sound being much louder than this, though. It's a very much so a preference thing. I don't really like the game sounds and music competing with my voice. I always think it's silly when the casters and game sounds compete, but I don't know. This is usually the volume I have it at. As the Queen is there, Medivacs get turned around. Lings will chase the Medivacs away. 1-1 upgrades. Finishing up from Q. Looking down on the way down. Not really surprising. What else were you really going to be aiming for if you're playing Roaches into the next stage of the game and you don't see a Bane Nest or melee upgrades or anything starting up? I think I just have to be somewhat of the expectation there, so like I say, that part shouldn't be too surprising at all. Marines coming through, just going to get rid of that hatch, so take that out with immediate effect. Nice little grab. ZvT upgrades coming about, the +1 vehicle weapon still coming up, tank and a couple more Marines coming around as well. The medivacs are still building through. We have our lurkers also on the way up, so 7 more lurkers coming in here. The Vipers are going to go. Move on forward. Let's get a little bit of consuming energy done. Tank gets abducted. 2 tanks get abducted quickly, trying to drop on the high ground as well. There's still 1 tank low ground, but that's not a lot of splash compared to what we were expecting. However, might be enough to still force Reynor away as Marines, tanks continue through. Lurkers are still set up. The Roaches and the Queens all established as well. Army moves back over this other direction now. Let's see, 1 more tank getting abducted in. We actually saved that one with the medevac, another tank. And that one will go down, already sieged up. Akira is going to be able to push all the way up around the top side here, so that part of this is very, very cool. As we do have the lurkers out, but they've not really been in the best of positions just yet, so they've not been able to do too much so far. Now they're going to try and push forward a little bit more, but there's no support for these lurkers. They're on their own against a concave of bio. That's obviously quite terrifying. The Lurkers are going to burrow up one more time here. This time around, hoping to have a little bit of a better time as a few more corrosive vials continue to drop in. Roaches, Ravagers, Hydras, Lurkers continue to press forward. The couple of Vipers are going to sit tight and hold back a little bit as well. And you see some more tank shots coming out. The Lurkers are going to take a few more hits. We abduct in with that tank again. And this army of Kua continues to run on up. I mean, Reynor in the end, I think, is going to hold this off, but it's been expensive, and there's units coming from the bottom side too. So wondering if that's going to be something which Reynor can handle, as that's just a very small handful of reinforcements. So Reynor lives, he gets to keep this base and that Ridge Vespene gas alive. That is obviously fantastic for him as well, so he should be very, very happy in that regard. As we see Hydras, Roaches, Ravagers continue to come about here. Those Lurker shots still lining up to come on through. Just for the moment, as we have plenty more Roaches still on the way. And a couple of those Lurkers coming through, getting those all settled in. We've seen these Lurkers going to unburrow as well, so they're going to relocate also now. Lurkers do come out of a Nidus in the main base, almost always one of the bigger issues for a Zerg player, for a Terran player, is a Nidus in, for the Terran player, yes, a Nidus in the main, and actually having that problem come about, and suddenly Kua's army is just going to get shredded, and like I say, he can't let Nidus come up in the main base. Those attacks of Kua did just fizzle out on the other side of the map as well, becoming a problem at the very end. That is going to be GG's for this TVZ. In the top left, looking to make that not happen, is going to be the red Terran player, Team Liquid's Kua. In the bottom right, our blue Zerg is Reynor. Reynor leads 1-0. Let's just let me tap for 1 second, guys. Put the ads on. Beautiful. Alright, so take a couple seconds to get established and wait to see what the next step of everything is going to be. Seeing our barracks coming through, SCV coming about. Different bits and pieces just continuing by. All these early stages. Friends are going down, the marine is coming up. We got ourselves a hatchery. Continue to get going as well. And that factory is coming in. The CC is continuing to produce, so we get all of that being brought into play just for the moment. Again, getting ourselves ready nice and early. Our Reaper is going to get a drone kill here. So that's 2 drones dead. Q with a fantastic start. This is already a pretty incredible setup, because you're not really meant to take damage like that early game against a single Reaper. So 2 dead drones. Reynor hurting in the early stages, even losing a Ling or so on top of it all. So definitely not the prettiest of times right now if you're a Reynor fan. Things are looking pretty rough if you're a Reynor fan, because that's not, like I say, how things are really meant to start. But that is also just, you know, the very start of this game. And he's 1-0 up in this series, so don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. Just, you know, things to mention. Orbital continues through. The Queen continues to try and zone out this Reaper to push it back as best and as easily as possible. TV still coming up as well. Barracks is going to float on forwards. It's going to provide the high ground vision against this Overlord. Obviously, lifting that barracks up is a little bit of an investment, so that does take a little bit of time to kind of float out there. It's not going to be building an add-on during this, so it's a little bit of a factor, but does not seem to be too big of a deal. A couple of queens still gathering together. And get settled in. As, yo, Tree Thompson, thank you so much for gifting a sub out to Chiromancer RTS. Appreciate it. As, we're bringing a couple of Hellions come through. Roach is going to get back up a little bit. As Roaches do press a little bit. Well, Banshee is going to be there for defense. The Roaches are unlikely going to find much, already kind of getting shoved around and pushed away. You see a couple of Queens still coming over. The Banshee still nearby. This bout continues just for the moment still. Hatchery drops down into the bottom. Even Chambers coming up as Reynor gets ready to go big into the upgrades here in the next little bit, so gets all of that settled in. Queen is going to be there, Overseer as well, just zoning those Banshees out, trying to make sure they do not get to do too much. So keeping on top of those, making sure nothing gets out of hand here for the moment. Having ourselves the Bane Nest and the Infestation Pit continuing on through. Obviously, Reynor this time switching into those melee upgrades, so it's not going to stick on Roaches forever. It's going to have that kind of Ling Bane army. It's a bit more of a transition through the mid game here, so a little bit of a different approach in that regard. Marines will unload. Medivacs and dropping those Marines off. One more upgrades and combat shield coming through. Roach is coming up, Bane Speed is coming about, Ling Speed, melee upgrades, and Roach Speed all building as well. Matthew Roach is going to get on top of some of those Marines as the CC flies out to the 4th base. And that Baneley speed about halfway done. The road speed just about to finish. We do see Queens dropping crew teamers down again. An army of Kua comes down the bottom left-hand side, so get into position to maybe try and make a little bit of something happen now. I see the Marines coming through. The Roaches, though, honestly, in good enough numbers in these tanks. Kind of getting shut down quickly with the Biles. We could bile the final tank there and get that shot down without too much issue. And that was a pretty easy cleanup so far from Reynor. Meets that, matches that very easily. Yeah, very well handled this far, as we do see the Smoke Roller. And just going to come through. He's going to hit that medevac a little bit. So medevac taking a few shots of damage as well. Lings come over there. The medevac gets picked up. Couple throws of Biles coming down. And you see the Roach Ravager coming forwards. As we now have the medevacs just going to retreat back. It is going to be Reynor pushing. With units in the medevac, sometimes you can kind of get a jump on this army before it's unloaded, and then of course you can see success, but in this case Kua does manage to unload the units from the medevacs in plenty of time, so not actually going to be that much of an issue. And for more SCVs continue about, we do see the Ghost Academy coming up on the side of Kua. Triple Tech Lab on the way out as well. And do you have the, again, 2-2 upgrades continue to come on in. And Viking, our tanks, our Marines all continuing through. There's our Spore Crawler, and Ultra's Cavern comes in. That's a little cleanup from Reynor with his tech of the Vipers getting to put some use into play. So, during the Crane Royale and so on, Kura is very capable of playing a very long game as well. He's very capable of just sitting back and setting up and just being like, okay, you know what, here we go. Big long setup for me. And like I said, can be very comfortable in those situations as a bit of Roach Ravager Bane moves on through. Queens come in and Banshee getting chased about. Still got that Roach Ravager taking some steps forward. Four more Banes coming through. The Burrow upgrade is producing as well, so we continue to get that brought into play. Again, just a couple of those tanks continue to get themselves sieged up as well. Bane Ravager trying to come through the Lings as well, taking a setup. Marines stemming forward. The Banshee coming forward as well. A few SCVs going down. Getting a couple of lags. Quick ping check. Looks stable, so not sure if that's necessarily me, as Reynor going to open up these rocks and he will have access to kind of dive into this top side. Now, Ghost on the way from Q. He's definitely getting to the tech he needs to kind of fight later in the game. Kind of surging attack in from Reynor do well here? I honestly don't know if it can. Maybe a little bit of a trade out, rebuilding some Ultras and so on would be nice, but I don't know if you really want to just full send this into this defensive layout, but we are going to try as Reynor moves through. I mean, he is going to come in from a good couple of angles. Definitely a good pincer movement on this Terran army. Honestly, feels like neither player really loses a lot, but I guess that's because production starts up immediately. Reynor starts 70, 80 Lings, a few Ultras as well. Kura just continues to replace what he already had. 2,000-ish resources lost difference is not bad at all for Reynor. That's a very good way to trade this far. This part is not so pretty though. Lings on their own, not really getting us around. Reynor is building a lot more Lings, but Lings on their own surely cannot fight forever. We see a few of these Ravagers trying to add some DPS into this. Reynor finally getting some Banes to show up. By the time the Banes show up, there's still just too much army here. I think he's also waiting for those Ultras. I understand he didn't want to let this siege happen because this position is very hard to break once it gets established, but I feel like we just gave up a lot of units there. I mean, if an Ultra or two was already on the way, running across and about to join that fight, I don't hate it, but we were so far away from having units nearby. A couple snipes still coming down, getting rid of those ghost snipes is going to be an issue now. 9 Ultras on the way. It's just going to be mass Ultralists here out of Reynor. To be fair, right now they're slicing through ghosts and all sorts. They're actually doing a lot of damage. These Ultras suddenly becoming heroes. Pulling back, Medivac's hanging. Couple libs, tanks, marauders, all coming up here as well. Need to bring this through. Ultra Baneling over to the right side. Just going to see those Medivacs lifting up. They're going to be backing away as well. So away they go for the moment. Pulling back away from here as we reset for a moment or two. Well, Ultras are going to come kind of firing through again. These Ultras have actually been amazing so far. They really did so much on the other side of the map just previously, and I was genuinely impressed by how much they were able to achieve. Now these Ultras continue up. Q's supply is absolutely plummeted, and it feels as though he might actually just be kind of dead in the water here. Which really is wild. These Ultras still slicing through. Q does not really have the money to rebuild much of anything. Seven Corruptors, 40 Lings. GG from Cure. Wow, Reynor. Again, looked as though like that fight on the right side with just the Lings wasn't pretty, but